All right, good morning, everyone. I'm calling to order our April 9th commission meeting for the Department of Disabilities. And the time is a little after 10:30. And you will notice that I am not Chairman Eddie Miller. So he is out today. He's on Teams, though, in New York City. So I'm filling in. And we'll get started. So welcome today. And we'll get started with the notice of mission statement.
I made notice announcing the date, time, and place of April 9th, 2025. Commission meeting was distributed on April 7th, 2025 to the appropriate media, other groups or individuals who requested notification. The announcement and agenda were posted at the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs Central Administrative Office and on the website. The public has been notified that accommodations as interpreters, mobility assistance, and other assistance will be provided to individuals with disabilities and special needs if requested in advance.
Thank you. First thing I would like to do is get a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. The motion is approved.
We got to vote.
We have to vote?
Yeah, motion second, and then you vote.
Oh, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
The motion is approved.
There you go.
Thank you, Barry.
Thanks, sorry.
All right, Barry, actually, you're up next for the invitation.
Oh, thank you. It is my pleasure to give the invocation today. I would ask that everybody would bow their heads, please. Dear Lord, I know that it is not meant for people to fully understand why you allow disabilities to happen. I am confident that each person that you create has a reason and a person that includes all those with disabilities. I pray for each of those today and for each of the difficulties that they have. And I pray that they would realize that those of us on this commission have tried to do the best we can for them throughout the time we've been able to serve here, and in my case, a lot longer than that in other capacities for over 30 years. I would pray that each person within the sound of my voice would come to know the peace that surpasses all understanding that a true Christian can have. And I hope that each of you would become a true Christian if you are not within the sound of my voice. In Jesus' name I pray. Holy and precious name I pray. Amen.
All right, I would like to have the approval for the February 20th, 2025 commission meeting minutes that were in your packet. So I will need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion is approved, and we approve the minutes from last session. Moving on to the commissioner update, I will go to my right. Do you have any updates?
Not exactly an update, but if I read the tea leaves correctly, this may be the last meeting of the commission. And I just wanted to raise a toast to all the caring, competent, dedicated employees that I've dealt with over the years. And I thank you for not rolling your eyes every time I ask a stupid question. I would like to give a shout out to Christy. She has reminded me of things that I should have remembered myself many times, and I just didn't. So I'd like to give a toast to y'all. Good luck, continue the good work, and finally remember, less driving is driving drunk.
Thank you. I want to go, Commissioner Thomas, do you have any words that you would like to share? Any updates?
He's got to unmute.
I know, yeah.
So give it a minute. You may have something to say. I hope he does.
Hey, Commissioner Thomas, are you trying to unmute?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, sir.
And I apologize. The answer to your question is no, I do not have any other comments, and it's been great serving with you all.
Thank you. Chairman Miller, I'm going to have you up next.
I'm going to ditto what has been said already. And Dr. Kurher, undoubtedly, he read my mind. And so a special thanks to each and every one of you on the executive staff, from the state director down to the last person that sweeps the floor. I've enjoyed every minute of working with those with disabilities and special needs, and this is not the end, but a new beginning. And I will always be there with you and for you. And we will ask God to continue to bless, keep, and guide those that will help and continue to help those with disabilities and special needs throughout the state of South Carolina. God bless each and every one of you.
Man.
Barry?
There's so many things that I could say in this opportunity. I do hope that, first thing I do want to say is that most of this probably should be said in the next meeting that we have, which I hope will be before the final passage of this obvious bill that's probably going to pass. It obviously is not yet. There's still time left, and I hope that we will have one other meeting for these sorts of things, but in case for some reason we don't, I have to say a couple things that ditto basically what was said. I'm sorry that I don't feel it necessary to bring up other things during this time, except to say that I'm thankful to the governor for the opportunity to serve on the commission for the last 5.5 years. And I am thankful for all those who work with me to try to make positive change, particularly in the first 3.5 years that I was here. We really made a lot of difference, and I really am thankful for the differences that we made. I have done my best to make a difference in the past, not only in the past 5.5 years here, but in the past 30.5 total, with 25 years on the county board. And it is very bittersweet that there are positive things about that bill. There are negative things about that bill, a lot of them. More negative in my opinion than positive, but there are some positive. And I will agree with Commissioner Miller, which I don't often do, but I will say that it's not an end, but it is a new beginning. I will say that. And we will just have to see how it goes from there. But I do appreciate all the help those out there with the staff have given me to help me to get the information that I needed. This bill is not yet passed, so there is a little bit more information I would like to have, which I'll talk to the staff about today before I leave here. But and again, I think it's very important that we have another meeting to say all these nice accolade things, because we do have business to attend today. But with that, I'll end. Thank you.
Thank you. I actually do have a couple of things to share.
Good.
It's been a couple of busy months, but I had the privilege and honor to speak at the Disability Advocacy Day last month. It was a great event. There were so many people who attended and booths, and it was really wonderful to see. And then I also had the honor of introducing my daughter, McKenna. She also spoke, and I was just honestly so proud of her. And you all know, for those who do know me, know that I'm a big advocate for adaptive sports, and trying to spread that throughout the state of South Carolina. So I thought I would just share a passage from my daughter's speech that I thought would really resonate with this group and whoever is listening. So I'm just going to read a little bit of what she had wrote and what she had shared at for her speech. And of course, it all revolves around adaptive sports. So she's, the finances needed for adaptive sports and recreational equipment are immense. The custom fit wheelchairs alone can be worth more than a vehicle, which her custom wheelchair was $7,000 for tennis. Her hand cycle was $10,000. In addition, being able to travel hundreds of miles to participate in respective adaptive sports programs come into play. Having participated in those events has allowed her to see how many individuals with disabilities, adaptive sports opportunities, and resources are incredibly lacking. Physical activity is a human right and should be inexpensive and easy to access for all individuals. My hope for the future is that we continue breaking down the barriers, whether that means expanding adaptive programs to universities, increasing funding for equipment, or changing policies to ensure inclusivity in all adaptive athletic spaces. My passion in life is to ensure that every individual, regardless of their ability, has the chance to experience the joy, empowerment, and lifelong impact of what sports brings. To those here today, whether you're an athlete, a family member, or a policymaker, I urge you to be a part of this change. Whether an adaptive athlete trying to reach the Paralympics one day, or simply playing a sport with their children, both groups should have equal access to opportunities, resources, and support to pursue their athletic goals. So please support and volunteer for adaptive programs. Advocate for accessibility and believe in the potential for every person with a disability. Because when we create opportunities, we don't just change lives, we transform communities. So that was a little something that my daughter wrote and shared, and I thought that was just, a proud moment for me.
Very good. She did a very good job writing that.
So with that, actually leads me to my next exciting thing. We've been, pushing hard and fighting for equal opportunities for sports and stuff. And, she goes to Clemson. Well, she graduates this year, and, she's 100% an athlete. All of the players on the team are athletes. And they have a special ceremony at Clemson for just their athletic department for graduation. And they were denied to participate that as athletes, which was really discouraging over the last 4 years to know that they couldn't, have that varsity C and, being recognized as the athletes that they were. But with everything that happened this year and all the recognition and stuff, I think it made a change, and I'm happy to announce that she will be walking as an athlete, rolling as an athlete, I should say, rolling as an athlete at Clemson. She'll graduate as an athlete, which is great. I'm so proud of that. But I'm also probably more proud of the fact that that changes, going forward. So all the adaptive athletes after her will get the same recognition and opportunity to graduate as athletes. So it's a big thing for the school of Clemson, and thank you. And it's a wonderful change, and happy to see that. So, and that leads me to say thank you, because, this is all, I've been here for a few years now, and this was incredibly new. Didn't know what I was signing up for, but it's allowed me to, given this platform to advocate and to share our story, and that's what advocating is all about, is sharing your story.
Amen.
And we've been allowed to do that, and made me more comfortable, talking in front of people, not everybody's gig. So I appreciate all of you for everything that I've learned and been able to contribute, and that hopefully we'll be able to do that going forward. So I want to just, thank you guys for this opportunity as well. And that's it. So thanks. So on to that. There is no public input, I understand. So we're going to go on to the next thing on our agenda, which is programs and services. And I would like to introduce Melissa Ritter, who will be talking about the Brain Injury Awareness Month.
Good morning. So in March, DDSN recognized National Brain Injury Awareness Month. It was a really great month. I feel like it's one of the most successful awareness months that we've had around brain injury here at DDSN, and I think that's in large part to the fact that several of my team members volunteered to serve on a committee that helped us kind of delegate all the work this year. And I could talk all day about all the things that were accomplished last month, but I'm going to just try to focus on the highlights here so I don't keep you too long. The theme was, the national theme for brain injury awareness was My Brain Injury Journey. This is the second year of that theme. So what we did at DDSN was conduct these survivor spotlight interviews again, and this year we focused on survivors of non-traumatic brain injury. Traumatic brain injury gets a lot of recognition, so we wanted to focus on the smaller population. So we did one interview in each region of the state with individuals who had either an aneurysm, a hypoxic brain injury, a stroke, or an anoxic brain injury, and their caregivers were present in some instances. They were really powerful interviews, and they really demonstrate the fortitude of the survivors that are served by DDSN and the dedication of their caregivers. If you didn't have a chance to watch those videos, I know they're a little bit long, they're about 10 minutes each. I hope you'll check them out on DDSN social media and take the time to watch them. And in keeping with that national theme, DDSN partnered with the Brain Injury Association of South Carolina, and we developed what we called Headstrong Hits. So this was an inspiring soundtrack that was curated by brain injury survivors and their caregivers. And the point was really just we asked survivors what song best represented their brain injury journey, and then we compiled those songs into a playlist that's available on Spotify. It's a 5-hour playlist at this point. There are more than 80 songs that were collected over last month. And it was really great, survivors being able to kind of reflect what their journey looked like. Also, we had Sarah Buff, who works here at DDSN, who worked with us in Weston Co-op to develop and design a custom t-shirt that celebrated Headstrong Hits, and we were able to support Weston Co-op that provides brain injury rehab to individuals with brain injury, including stroke survivors. And we had those t-shirts developed or designed, and we offered them for sale here at DDSN to staff members who were able to support Weston Co-op that way. We also invited Sarah Pregnall, who is a music therapist from Prisma Health, to come over and give a presentation talking about the benefits of music therapy and brain injury, and I think staff enjoyed that presentation. And then we closed out the month with our 4th annual Baking for Brains bake sale. I told you guys before that we have determined that DDSN staff have a hankering for sweets, and we have been exploiting that now for 4 years. We were able to raise $1,401 in our bake sale. That was all donated to the Brain Injury Association of South Carolina to help them. They provide support groups across the state, training opportunities, information and referral. They have these resource bags that they provide at level 1 trauma hospitals for individuals who have just incurred brain injury, so that they have something to take home with them to reference supports that are available. So we were able to donate that, and then several of us participated at BIASD's Walk, Run, and Roll, and they actually had a DJ that they hired present at that event that played selections from Headstrong Hits. So it was a really great tie-in to all the things that we had pulled together for the month. So in closing, I just really want to thank that committee that I mentioned earlier for their work to make this month a success, and that included Leanne Coleman, Sean Kane, Sarah Buff, Mackenzie Johnson, and Quanisha Chisholm. And finally, to end, I just want to say how grateful, again, I am for the opportunity that we have to highlight brain injury survivors that we serve and their caregivers. They inspire us every day to do the work that we do, and we're grateful for them. Any questions?
I just had one question for you. Obviously, I see again the waiting list has increased again for head and spinal cord injuries, and I just wonder if, I assume you know all about the S2 bill and in the legislature, and I assume you've read it. I just wondered if you thought there was anything that that bill was gonna do to help the, waiting list for the final court entries. I assume nothing, but I just wanted to ask.
I really don't know of anything that it would do to eliminate the waiting list. I do know that DHHS has some plans to try to allocate some additional slots, which hopefully will help to move that waiting list down a bit.
And you said last time I asked this, that, that money was really the only issue that you had in regards to your waiting list. That's true?
There is, money is certainly a concern. I mean, that's why there is a waiting list, because there's not funding available to serve the number of people who require services. Obviously, if there are a slew of people who come into services, then service provider availability could also become an issue. But I mean, funding is definitely an issue.
So that is the only real issue right now. If you had the funding, you wouldn't have the waiting list, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Lisa.
Thank you.
I appreciate your coming
Thank you.
today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sorry we couldn't have you last month, but we had you now.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Next is the DDSN Procurement Division presentation. Ms. Brittany Childs.
Good morning. For the month of March, we received a proclamation from the governor to expound upon the procurement month and expand on knowledge and supporting the procurement division statewide. So of course for DDSN, the initiative that we took this month was just of course to introduce our new team members, because of course we are building a new procurement team here to centralize our procurement processes within DDSN. So with that, throughout the month, our motto for the month was we work collectively and not separately. And our slogan was when in doubt, reach out. So it's, of course, something that we want to just try to put out to everyone that, that we are not, even though we have the different regions, of course, across the state, however, we are one unit together, all up under DDS's branch. So we just want to make sure that we're staying uniform when it comes to the processes that we do each and every day when it comes to purchasing anything as simple as a pen, all the way up to wheelchairs, as well as vehicles and any building constructions as well. So with that, with the initiative, we introduced out our team members, which of course myself, the procurement director. We have Terry Maple, who is our procurement manager, LaShonda Scroggins, who is also a procurement manager, Christopher Marlowe, procurement manager as well, Bria Goins, our procurement specialist 2, and Titus Conyers, who is our supply specialist 3 here at central office. Then we also geared for the regions themselves to make sure that they are sharing, of course, they've been there for a while, but just to make sure that any new employees that they had within the regions, that they know who their procurement teams are, as well as the directors of finance and procurement and their procurement specialists at each of the regions. Then we also shared important information such as do's and don'ts of procurement. I won't read them all, but just to share some. Do obtain 3 written quotes for any purchases between $10,000 and $25,000 if not using a South Carolina state vendor. And do keep accurate and detailed records of the items purchased and services rendered, because you'll never know when an audit could happen. And we, of course, are undergoing our state audit now. 2 don'ts to share. As of course, do not lean on your own understanding when it comes to procurement. If you have questions, reach out. And don't assume it's an emergency simply because it's inconvenient. We also shared some commonly asked questions within procurement. And I would just share one of those. Can I go ahead and purchase these items as it is an emergency? And of course, if it does not fall within the procurement code's emergency guidelines, the answer is no. Approval and authorization are needed to make any purchases to include urgent purchases. This is to protect the requester and the agency. And we also highlighted some fun facts about our procurement team. So it's just like some of their special hobbies, things they like to do, just to make it fun, of course, just to introduce the faces to the teams, because again, although we are here to serve as DDSN, we are individuals and we do like to connect with everyone to make transactions a little bit easier. But of course, going into our next year, we're excited. This was our first one as a team, so we will do a lot more highlights. We do have a lot of big shoes to follow around when it comes to highlighting special months within DDSN, so we'll definitely take advantage of that going forward. Do we have any questions?
No, but as a numbers person, I like everything that you just said. So, it sounds awesome, and I think it's going to be great for the state. Thank you. All right, next up is commission committee business, and we're going to start with the policy committee. Gary, I'll turn it over to you.
I have learned my lesson. I'll turn this over to Laura very quickly.
How are y'all this morning?
Delegation is a wonderful thing.
Good.
So we have 2 policies for you guys to review and approve today. They are both HR-related policies, so they don't directly involve service delivery to the folks that DDSN supports. The first policy is 40603DD. It is the agency's reduction in force policy. This was just an update to the policy, and the main change to it was just to clarify some language and include the fact that the state director will approve the policy before we issue any reduction in force plans. Any questions related to that?
The only change in that policy, as far as I can see, was it's red, where the changes were with just the red part, right?
Right.
Okay. I don't have any problem with that policy. The only thing I'd like to say is, on a more of a summary note, is that it really amazes me that there's no more policies for us to approve today, considering this is probably the last opportunity we have to approve any, and the fact that we've only done about 12 in the past 2 years, or 10. But other than that, I don't have any problem with the policy.
We'll have to approve both of these together, if it's okay.
Okay, sure. The other policy that we have for review is a new policy, and it is a policy for the agency to move to a smoke-free environment for its employees. This is in keeping with other state agencies and the way that the state is moving. Many hospitals have already done it. I will point out that the policy specifically states that it doesn't apply to the people that we support. We do have some people that live on the campus of some of our regional centers who smoke, and this policy will not apply to them. They still have the right and the ability. Any questions or issues around it? All right.
Motion to approve.
Approve. What is it? I approve.
Okay.
Yeah.
You approve.
Motion.
You're making the motion.
Yes.
I second.
Sorry.
Yeah, for a second, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Ed said, I'm assuming David wouldn't have a problem with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Old business, and we're going to talk about Miss Courtney Crosby is going to talk about the sale of this building, the 3440 Hardin Street Extension.
Good morning. So on August 15th of '24, the commission voted to approve the surplus of 3440 Hardin Street Extension, which is DDSN's current central office. So this allowed for it to be sold by the Department of Administration. The Department of Administration issued an invitation to bid on November 12th, which closed on February 10th. The minimum bid price was set for $2.6 million, which was the appraised value as of January 11th of '24. The Department of Administration received one bid for $2.8 million. The agency has accepted the offer contingent upon approval by the commission. So we are requesting approval from the commission to accept the offer, which would allow the Department of Administration to negotiate and award the contract.
I have a question. That is almost an unbelievably low number. The property next door where Dreyer Physical Therapy is sold for $2 million. It's only like 1.5 acres. Somebody's stealing this property.
So let me just, and on that note, go ahead, sorry.
That's it. That's my point.
On that note, I just want to say one thing. I just want to ask one thing. the person that appraised this property, is that a private appraiser or is that a state appraiser?
It was coordinated by the Department of Administration. I brought a copy of it with me. I can share that with you.
I would love to know who, I mean, not who appraised it, but I would love to know if it was a private appraiser or, because obviously they're going by the appraisal and that's what you're supposed to do, but.
The property that I'm speaking of sold for $2 million, not but 2 years ago. It had less than 2 acres. I mean,
What is the acreage of this place, 10?
11 point something. I mean, that's incredibly low. I wish I had $2.8 million or $2.8 million.
Yeah.
And had I known they were cheap, selling so cheaply, I might have found $2,800,001.
Maybe we could have gotten an investment group together.
And there's only one bid though, right? I mean, there's only one
There's
person
only
bidding
one
on it.
bid, is that
There
correct?
was one bid, and that was after an amendment to extend the time period to.
But how did they
submit it.
market it? Who knew about it?
We don't know that.
I didn't see a sign on the property at all.
I don't know that I ever saw a sign on the property.
Yeah, there's no sign on that.
I mean,
But anyway.
marketing's the key, and I think we're selling it way too low personally.
Well,
I don't know if I have any say in it. I guess I have some say in it right now, but
yeah, a little bit right now.
after the law is passed, nobody probably say it, but, you know, if you want to give it away, 2.8 is giving it away.
But anyway, back to my question, is it a private appraiser or a?
It appears to be, an appraisal company. It is an LLC, and they are, a certified general real estate appraiser.
Let me ask a question. This is Chairman Miller.
Thank you.
Director Holloway, give us your thoughts on the situation.
My thoughts are, we put it up for bid at the requested direction of Department of Admin, removing. That was the only bid we had based on the appraisal. I mean.
And you're not in real estate, so I don't.
No, I'm not in real estate, but I mean, he asked my opinion, so I gave it.
How is it marketed?
Do we know that?
All of that flows through the Department of Administration. We don't have any control or any input on it. I'm not sure how it was marketed. I know that when they do their bids, they announce them at their, what's that meeting called? SPA? What's SPA stand for?
MMO, the Materials Management Office,
But as far
State
as-
Fiscal Accountability Authority.
Do they put out like ads and those type of things? I'm not aware of.
But you said some minutes just now, you said we don't have any input in the process at all, right?
No.
They didn't ask us anything, right?
Well, they asked us to come to the building, make it available for the individual to appraise it. When we had a potential bidder, they asked for that person to be able to come and view it. But as far as if I had said, no, we don't want to sell it, that was an option.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But and as far as, reiterate one more time.
Chair,
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah.
if the chairwoman could let me ask a question, I'm David.
Yes, please ask.
I'm not a realtor either, but I kind of keep my eyes open for, what valuations are. I live kind of in an out community in Fountain Inn, South Carolina, way south of Greenville, and houses around me are being built that are selling just a street away for $1 million each. We're talking houses for over $1 million. Something's wrong with that number. I would have guessed the number to have been something like $10 million, something like that. You have so much property with it too. How many acres is involved, by the way?
11.39.
It's really sad.
So, Director Holloway, quick question.
Oh, God.
What is expected of us?
What is the next step? If we vote for this today, what is the next step? They literally get it for that much money and we're done?
Yeah.
If we vote no, what happens?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I've never had that problem before. Now, I can only assume that they'll just wait till you guys don't exist and then just move forward,
That's
but
government for you.
yeah.
The only thing I would say, the only thing I would like to say is that we vote on this with the request of a second appraisal. I mean, can we do that? Can we at least request a second
We
appraisal?
could request, we can make whatever request. I just want us to be prepared for the denial of the request.
Well, that's fine.
But we can make.
That's fine. But we have
All
the
of that
authority.
is,
We have the authority today to do that. We will have it
all of
until.
that, all of that is fine. What we don't want to happen is after today, someone comes back and say, boy, I don't know about those commissioners.
Well, I don't know about us either, but I know that we try to do the best job we can.
What we could do is, we can make contact with our contact at the Department of Administration, whose name is Ashley Lancaster, and express the concerns that have been expressed today, and then get from her how to best proceed forward. Maybe
Let's do that.
she deals with every state agency, so maybe she's had this issue before.
Okay, well, that's right, and maybe we can, if we have to vote today, let's vote based on a second appraisal. And if we don't have to vote, let's put it off until the emergency meeting we would have between now and the next time we could.
We have an emergency meeting now?
Well, we could, for this purpose, if.
No, that wouldn't be, I think let's go with what the state director has recommended. And then,
I will
because
today. But if we vote
chapters-
today, what we gotta understand is if we vote today, it is over. If we don't vote with any kind of amendment to that vote, meaning that we would say with a second appraisal, we're approving it. Without a second appraisal, we're not. If we don't do that, then it's over. There's nothing we can do when this meeting is over.
Anyways, if we're going to say we don't want to, we need something, do we need a vote if we say we want a second appraisal?
Yeah, we need to vote based on a second appraisal. And then we just see what they say from there. And if we need to have an emergency meeting if we need to have an emergency meeting to approve whatever the next step is, then that's what we're doing. All we're doing as a commission is the last due diligence we can do as a commission, which is to ask for a second appraisal on this building for that much, based on what I, as a real estate professional, what I think this building is worth, which is at least twice what we're selling it for. So, and I am a real estate professional. I have been for 30 years. And I'm not saying that I'm an appraisal, but in this case, what you do as a real estate professional is you ask for a second appraisal.
What's your proposal again?
I would go along. Go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Chairman. If I could just ask this one thing. Barry, does a second appraisal really accomplish the purpose of answering the question? It would have to be a second appraisal that would be different from this one. And I think the governor's office ought to get involved in this just a little bit. Something's wrong here. I mean, something is there seems to be what would appear to me, I could be wrong, but a sweetheart deal of some kind where not enough people were made aware this is such a, I mean, it's in a great area.
That's right.
I just don't get it. I really don't understand this. I hate to leave, the commission being done away with a mistake being made that could later be said to be patently absurd.
Absolutely.
So if I understand correctly, the request is for us to go back to the Department of Admin, request a second appraisal. And then.
No. Constance, hold on just a second. We got to deal with the issue that the first appraisal is flawed. We believe it could be. And if we simply go back to them and say, oh, yeah, do it again, well, they just repeat the same thing. There's got to be some fresh air here where we're getting, let's get arm's length from what has taken place and just make sure from other agents, other And it could, listen, it doesn't have to be for a formal appraisal. It could just be a couple of realtors that in the Columbia area that could tell us one way or the other whether if I had known this amount was there, I'd have put together a little group here in Greenville and purchase this. This is, as I say, houses are going for $1 million in southern Greenville County. This just doesn't make sense with the way prices of property have just incredibly escalated in the past year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, and
The
we
only thing we
don't
can
want folks saying, who were those commissioners?
Well, so what? What does that really matter? We're doing our due diligence, but the last thing to say is we have to either vote to put this off, vote with a contingency, or vote with something. So we can't just not do anything. We have to vote in some form or put it off until the next emergency meeting that we have or whatever. So we have to do something here today. And I don't, with all due respect, I don't know what else to do other than ask for a second appraisal, because nobody's going to go by what one real estate broker says over another one. They're just going to go by what an appraisal company says. So
going back to what Commissioner Thomas is saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Barry, but we need to add to that we feel as though that something is wrong with the value, the appraisal.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. David is a very intelligent man. He's exactly right. But all I'm saying is we have to put this in the form of a motion that we're going to vote on, that's going to say that we want a second appraisal because we think there could be an issue with this first appraisal of some kind or another. And so all we're doing is doing our due diligence. Now, obviously, if we don't exist in a month from now and somebody does what they did, but all we did was what we thought was right. So, and we could talk, they do need to talk to the Department of Administration again and ask about this stuff, but we have to vote today to do something, because if we just vote to approve it,
we can always, Barry, you can always vote to carry over and then carry this particular thing over. You don't have to vote yay or nay. You can vote to carry over, then we bring it up in a special meeting or an executive session, specially called.
Right. I agree with that 100%. I'll make a motion I'm happy to make a motion that we table this until the next either emergency meeting or executive session or whatever we do. Let's
go back. Barry, let's go back with what David was saying. David, say what you said just now in the form of a motion, please.
We could simply move to carry this over, and then we could do what we wanted to do. We could ask the director to get in touch with the land people to meet with us in an executive session. Because this is a sale of property, this would be a contract issue, so perfectly okay for executive session. And it would allow any of us individually, if we wanted to go out and inquire from some people in the Columbia area who are in the business. Excuse me. And we, well, that's it.
Well, I go along with what you're saying as a carryover until, because we feel as though that the appraisal values is not correct based upon the acreage and what we've noticed in that particular area, in our particular area, the appraisal value of other properties.
Appraisal typically comps are noted for what they are in the region. And I promise you, as full disclosure, I owned that property that sold for $2 million. And it's only an acre and a half. So I know this is really low.
Anyway,
so let the motion.
The word should be tabled, should it not carry forward? The word should be
carry over that item, and with the understanding that we're gonna move through the director to get the land people talking to us, and for us individually, whatever, to get another look at what that property ought to go for. And you don't have to do too much formal. I mean, this isn't something. we just have enough questions where we just want to have it confirmed that this is kind of in the ballpark of realistic of valuation. So if nobody's going to do it,
I'll make a,
I'll move to.
go ahead, David.
I'll second your motion, Chairman.
Well, actually, Barry, go ahead. You can make the motion.
Okay, thank you. I would move that we carry this particular issue forward with asking for additional information from the Department of Procurement, Department of Administration, which will be asked for through the Executive Director, which is Constance.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, David seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Did we need to say that it's unanimous vote that we carry that?
If nothing else, we could possibly get some media involved in this to find out what's going on. Something going on.
Go ahead. Yep. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the commission's willingness to have backbone. Very good. Thank you.
And you can continue to stand for the regional update or the regional center renovations update.
Okay. So we are continuing to implement the regional center renovation plan. On Monday, we met with the architects and contractors at the Coastal Center to finalize design for 2 dorms, Highlands 110 and Hillside 620. We have received the green light to schedule the groundbreaking, and we'll reach out to each of you once plans are confirmed. We have finalized contracts for architect engineer services for all priority 1 and 2 buildings at the PD and Saleeby centers. And we have accepted proposals for architect engineer services for priority 1 and 2 buildings at the Midlands and Witten Center. We are working to finalize those contracts now. Additionally, we are reviewing general contractor proposals for all remaining campuses with the exception of the Midlands Center. We're still working to solicit a proposal for that campus with the goal of receiving it by the end of April. The JBRC, or Joint Bond Review Committee, established the expectation of quarterly progress reporting. Our next report for the quarter ended March 31st will be submitted in advance of the JBRC's next meeting, which is scheduled for June 3rd. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank Claire Thompson, DDSN's project manager, and Clint Burdett with the Office of the State Engineer for their assistance with plan implementation. So any questions on the regional centers?
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the legislative update, do we have Carol Stewart on the line? Did she join?
I am. I'm on.
You want to put?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you for having me. I will be short. I only have 2 items to bring up today to the commission. The first one is the one we've been watching for more than a year and a half. Senate Bill 2 passed the 3M subcommittee and the full committee and is now on the House, and that is in the House. It's now on the House calendar. That's the Medical, Municipal, and Military Affairs Committee. That vote passed with only 1 no vote, so it was practically unanimous. The 1 vote against it was because Wendell Gilliard, Representative Gilliard, was concerned about jobs being lost. That will not be taken up on the Senate floor or the House floor this week, and they're on furlough next week, so it'll be at least 2 weeks before that bill comes up for debate on the floor. As we know, it passed the Senate, so this is sort of the last step before it goes to the governor's office for him to sign. The second order of business I have to discuss is the budget.
Carol.
The Senate.
Carol.
Yeah, yes,
Ms.
I'm
Stewart.
sorry. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Quick question. Once
Certainly.
the governor signs it, when does it go into effect?
I think it's immediate effect, isn't it, Constance?
It is immediately once the governor signs it, but there will be a lull between him signing and a slight lull between him signing and the passage in the House. I would imagine there'd be a signing ceremony, but the only question I would have about the bill, more importantly right now, is was there any amendments to the bill from the last time you sent us this last bill, whenever it passed the final House committee?
I don't think there was anything substantive. I think there was a technical amendment that I will get for you, but it didn't change any of the original intent of the legislation at all.
And there
It
has
was just some
been,
word.
and for the record, so for the record, you haven't seen any amendment for the name of our agency, I mean, of the main department, which is called the Department of Behavioral and Developmental Disability, which is what this department will be called, even though that has nothing to do with head and spinal cord injuries whatsoever. And I apologize to all those who have one of those, that we have to be called that, because they have nothing to do with that whatsoever.
Yeah, that's correct. That is correct. And we did make that point. Constance and Courtney both made that point to the medical affairs staff before they took the bill up in committee. We met with them to make that point, Barry.
Thank you.
That's a very disappointing name.
The last thing to say is that the entire department, if I understand it, will be called the Office of Intellectual and Related Disability. Is that correct?
Yes. That is correct.
So, Mr. Stewart, one other question.
Yes, sir.
The state director, how is that going to be determined for that agency?
That is the governor's appointee to be confirmed by the Senate. And that's the big question, is who they have in mind for that position. So far, I've been unable, either they don't know or they're not telling right now.
Does that happen simultaneously, or is that's going to happen after the governor signs the bill? So there may be
yeah, that would have to happen afterwards. And yes, that'd have to happen after he signs it.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
As far as the commission is concerned, once he signs that bill, we are on our own. Am I correct?
I'm not sure how they're going to go about dissolving your commission. I assume, I don't know. I don't even want to make an assumption because
look into that and give us an answer on that.
I will look into what that process is, because I think we all see the writing on the wall that this is probably going to happen this year. I mean, you never know. It can be held up on the House floor like it was last year. But,
not an issue.
Good.
Yes.
I'm fine where I am.
Thank you.
David here. Could I ask a question?
Certainly.
Chairwoman, I just want to ask a question or two. Now, 38 private entities that are the county entities, are they in any way included in oversight here, or are they left out? That became an issue last year. And then when it was, I think there was a howl that went up about the independence of these 38 entities. Are they excluded from this legislation again this time in this bill, Carol?
They are excluded. There's no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no mention of them yet. All right. Now, what we've been told is that may be step 2 in another year or two.
And we've heard that before.
Yeah. Whenever it started, it was a thing that will never change. Because 38 folks out there aren't gonna. There may be sentencing or something in this legislation. It seems like I saw something, but that was the old bill. So many things can happen. There was one other question I had concerning what might not be covered. And so spinal cord injuries will not be covered any longer?
No, I think they'll still be covered. They're just not included in the title. Is that right?
We're just talking about the
Yes,
title,
they're
David.
just talking about intellectual disabilities. They're not mentioning physical disabilities, which not only spinal cord, it's anybody with a
That's
physical
right, including
disability.
people with cerebral palsy like me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's leaving out a big group of people entirely,
I'm not sure if we gave them a possibility.
just in the name.
I'm not sure we gave them a possibility for a name, but I don't know why they couldn't have called it the Office of Disability, period. But
Right, I mean, it's just.
Well, then my question, as it was 2 years ago, does that mean that if it's simply not in the title and not in the body to make up for its absence in the title, would that have the effect? I mean, some sort of way, the legislators are simply happily moving along thinking, okay, all we're doing is making this a cabinet agency, as I understand it. That basically is it. And combining and putting one leader, and then you got the lieutenants and all that. But if it leaves out a chunk of what our responsibility is, then suddenly people are cut off from an entity to go to in the government, the state government, to help them with the problem that they've got. And if that's the case, we need to just communicate something in writing. I'll be glad to do it, being the legislative liaison from DDSN. I could do that through the director's office and put my name on it and say, you need to realize it's in there. And if that's not changed, then you're going to probably be hearing about it over the next year or two or three, and it becomes another issue that could have been taken care of in this legislation. So I think I need some guidance from the director or whoever's kind of in charge of that arena. If groups of people are being left out and are going to be cut out, I think it's a responsibility we're going to need to at least put this in writing to the governor's office and the chairman of the whatever committee this ran through, 3M. I don't know. What do y'all think? I mean, is anyone? I'm alarmed. Let's put it that way.
Constance is going to speak to that.
So Commissioner Thomas, so they're only leaving the segment of our population out of the name of the subunit agency. We expressed all of those concerns in person and followed up in writing. And I think we even went as far as to give some potential proposals for names that would be inclusive. So they have all that information currently. There was also a letter.
I never saw that.
That's super. I didn't get a copy of it. I mean, we need a copy of that communication, Constance. Can you get us a copy of that, or Carol, to all the commission?
Yeah, could we send it? Could you send us an email with that, please?
Yes.
The names that you asked for. Because we're not going now. We have at least 2 weeks to go or longer. We're not going now.
Well, I need to see it because
we'll send you a copy of. So we met in person with staff from 3M. He called and asked could we come and meet with him in person, and then we follow up in the email. So we will send that information that we sent over in the email, and we also forwarded.
Constance, 1 second. If it's not crystal clear in that email that you sent or communication with them, and that we're going to get a copy of, then we've got to tell them before session starts, so that some responsible members would say, well, that's easy to do, handle. We'll just create an amendment and take care of it, and it would just be amended on the floor. But we got to know, and we got to communicate, at this point in time, people would be blaming us. Well, why didn't you say something? And we'd be long gone by then, but it'll blow up in May or June or July or whenever it goes into effect, and people don't have a place to go to, or the ones that are being helped get cut out. And I hear what you said, or whoever said it, about, hey, it's just taken out of the title. Well, okay, what'd they do about it? Do we have something in the bill that is clear that this is being that the spinal cord injury, intellectual, however it needs to be worded, they need to be put on alert, the legislature, that you're going to see a substantial change in who we're helping, or who well, whatever the new name is going to be. I don't know what it is.
Carol, why don't you state, Carol, would you please state for the record what the overall agency is, what the three, I mean, I can do it, but I'd rather you did, what the three agencies that it will combine it, and what our agency as DDSN will be called? Could you state that for the record, please?
I don't have that all in front of me. I do know that the three agencies affected are DAODAS, DDSN, and mental health. Those are the three agencies affected. And I know that our title was changed, and we've talked about that earlier. Again, I don't have the bill right in front of me, but Constance, you can give them that title again.
As far as.
Courtney, do you have the bill?
I don't know. It's
I do.
Did they provide any response to us, asking and saying that we have an issue with the new name? Did they respond with any?
You mean in writing?
Yeah.
No.
Did they give?
They took it as information.
Did they give it any consideration, or?
We don't know.
I mean, it's.
I believe they did.
So I sent the email to the staffer, and he replied and said that he would forward it to the chairwoman and to Representative Sessions.
Right.
Hey, would you please send me, I don't have my email on me right now, obviously it's not on my phone, but would you please send me an email, the email that says what we propose the names to be and what that letter was?
I will. I'll forward it.
Because I never saw it and David didn't either, and I don't know. I'd like to ask, did Chairman Miller see that email?
There was not a letter. We attached a letter that was written from the Head and Spinal Cord Brain Injury Association that they drafted. So, and because they also had concerns about the name. We attached a letter to our email. So it wasn't a letter drafted by this agency. It was from the Head and Spinal Brain Injury.
There's a bunch of organizations that.
Well, that's fine, but I'm just asking, I didn't see the email and David didn't either. Did Ed see the email? Did you forward him the email, or did you not?
No.
Okay. As far as I know, for the record, the department will be called, those three together will be called the Department of Behavioral and Developmental Disability.
Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities.
Okay, well, as far as the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disability is the overall three agency title. And then as far as I know, based on what the information I have on this bill, which is an amendment, but I don't know if it's the last amendment, I think it is. I'm not suggesting it is because things change every day in the legislature, but that our agency, DDSN, will now be called the Office of Intellectual and Related Disability. Is that correct?
The Office of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities.
Oh, developmental, sorry.
And not others and others?
No, it's nothing else.
It just says intellectual
And related.
And developmental.
and
And
developmental.
developmental disability.
So
That
not
specifically
even,
leaves out.
yeah, not even others to like
Yeah.
capture
And by leaving it
a
out,
huge
it will have
population.
to be litigated to decide whether spinal cord injuries be included.
And not only just spinal cord injuries,
Yeah,
I
lots
mean,
of
it's
things, right.
a lot of,
Hopefully it won't be litigated, I don't know, but it
Because
could.
how else would it be changed? Has to do
Well,
it.
if it was changed, it would have to be litigated, but I'm saying I hope they wouldn't fight. I hope we wouldn't battle over who was covered whenever this bill was passed, but I don't know. I mean, but anyway, it is.
that's even more depressing with.
It's a bad
without the
name.
others.
I will just clarify that it does leave those populations out in the title of the agency.
Yeah.
But in the bill itself, it describes those populations as the populations supported by the Office of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. So there's no concern from the legislation that those people don't get services. The issue is that the name does not include those populations.
They're like looking up, people are saying, who do I go to? What department do I go to? Because this department doesn't fit, because obviously you're going to look at the name first and you're like, well, I have no idea am I even going to be served? Can I be served?
And
Well,
I
I
think some of the
appreciate Lori.
concerns in the letter from the Brain Injury Alliance and the Spinal Cord Injury Association was that someone with a physical disability only who doesn't have any intellectual or developmental concerns feels like perhaps they feel like it doesn't. The name of the agency they're getting support from doesn't reflect who they are, is what I saw.
Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate your saying that. I thought that all what you just said was the case, but I appreciate you clarifying it.
Carol and David, based on what you
Yes,
just
sir.
heard, your thoughts?
Well, that is very comforting.
Well, and I think we have to, oh, go ahead, David.
That is very comforting that it's in the body of the bill that these people as a group are covered. So my fears are much allayed. I do think it needs to be added in the title because, as Ms. Wood had said, people look at to say, oh, that group is there. That's the group I'm looking for. It would be awfully good if this were included in the title of what the agency is. That's it. But as far as leaving a group out, what was just spoken by staff, I think allays
Was that correct?
my fears.
All right.
Carol,
Yes. Yes, sir.
based on what David just said,
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
your thoughts?
Yeah, I can work on that. As I say, we have a couple weeks before it comes up on the floor and there can be an amendment added on the floor. I also need to get a copy of the technical amendment that was just passed. I have not seen it because it was just passed out, but I'll get a copy of that too, so we can see if what that addresses. But when they talked about it, that it wasn't a title change that I could tell in committee when they verbally expressed what they're doing. But I can work on that.
Okay, do us a favor. David, Carol,
Yes, sir.
and Director Holloway,
Yes, sir.
work on that, and then after you
We
work
will.
on it, just share it with the commission so we all be on the same page.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
We can do that. And then I have one other item, Mr. Chairman, to report on, which is the budget.
Mhm.
Is debating the budget in committee this week. They're doing a lot of it, as former Senator Thomas knows, behind closed doors, and will come out and tell us what they have. But again, Constance and Courtney spent a lot of time with me going around to the subcommittee members' offices and spending time with them, really expressing the need and the rationale for our budget request. As we know, the House fell short on what they funded us. They gave us a little bit, but not what we considered enough. And so we have made that case to each member individually, and so as well as staff. So we're hoping that we'll see a better outcome in the Senate version of the budget than we did in the House.
What?
Okay.
And Madam Chair, that's my report.
I have a question related to the budget then.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you. Based upon what we asked for in the budget, what part of that was funded as of right now, as of today? Can you tell us what we asked for and what was funded as of today?
Or denied.
Or not funded? Can anybody do that?
If it wasn't enough, is it a significant, not
I mean,
enough?
what I'm asking is what the difference is. Does anybody have that information?
I think Carol was talking, correct?
No, she's not. I can't hear her.
Oh,
Carol,
I'm sorry, I'm on mute. I didn't realize I was on mute when I said that. Yeah, Constance, do you have that exact number? I know we only got about $1 million of new money. The Genetics Center got the rest of the money that was allocated in the House budget, which I think was 1.5. And then we got, go ahead, Constance. You got those numbers right in front of you.
Oh, no, I don't, but off the top of my head, yeah, that's
Oh,
correct.
sorry.
So we asked for, whew, I haven't done the numbers running through my head.
17.5 million for the new projects or the new setups with the providers. We got approximately $1 million of that. So we're basically short 15 to $18 million total.
Are you talking about the renovations, or what are you talking about when you say?
Not the renovations, no. We were trying to get some state funding so that we could set up some more providers to take on some of our harder cases.
So,
And get them started with capital projects.
Complex
Yes.
medical cases. Was it because we're combining agencies and that was the thought?
well, we don't know. We were not the only agency that didn't get a lot of money the House didn't award a lot of money. There were significant cuts across the board. We don't know if that's because of the combination that's to come or the state of the economy as a whole. We don't know.
These weren't recurring costs, these were new costs
Yes.
that we were asking for.
Yes.
These people are difficult to place. We're going to pay one way or the other anyway. So why not do it reasonable way? I don't know.
But we're hopeful.
Yeah,
that with all of the lead work we did similar lead work in the House. We met with all the members of the committee. We doubled that in the Senate, just like speaking with them and expressing the great need for what we requested. We didn't make the request. We need those funds to be able to serve who we serve. So we're hopeful that once the Senate finalizes their budget, that we'll receive more funds.
Is there a specific plan, the $17 million that we're asking for the providers? I mean, do they have a plan where this is what they would have spent on that $17 million if they got it?
Yeah, I mean, it was part of the budget.
It was part of
Yeah.
It was part of when we asked approval to submit that budget request back last year. The plan was presented then.
Yeah.
I just don't have it in front of me right now. And I don't want to give the wrong numbers because I also had the numbers for the renovations running through my head. So got a lot of numbers.
Okay, I think Carol Stewart was about to chime in and say something. Carol, am I correct?
Yeah, and I can say, I don't think yes, Mr. Chair, but I don't think it was necessarily because of the potential merger of agencies that our budget was less. I think what I heard individually from a number of legislative leaders was that honestly, they don't know where the federal government is going on funding some of these programs, and it's going to fall to our state to pick up the difference in the case that to really fund in big ways until that kind of evens out a little bit more for them and what's left.
Can you repeat those last?
They probably won't be. I said they are hesitant to fund 100% of our requests, not knowing what the federal government would not fund.
Gotcha.
Sorry about that.
Out, but I think it was just that we're between the federal government and the state government.
In other words, you're saying Washington, D.C. is what you're saying, right, Carol?
Correct.
And then the plan is then you guys will continue to ask and that's
Yes.
what we're going to. Okay.
Continue to ask.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Director, would you help me a little bit? If we have a difficult person to place, end up in an emergency room and end up admitted to the hospital, they're going to stay there. We're going to pay for that until we find a place for them. We don't have a place for them to go. It's going to cost us at least triple or quadruple what it would cost if we had this money to invest in providing facilities.
Correct.
They don't understand that though.
Well, we explained it to them. We gave the exact, so what we explained to them is priority, we try to tap into Medicaid, but there are some scenarios where individuals are not eligible for Medicaid funding.
Right.
And that's why we asked for the state funding. So we explained situations like that, individuals who are being held in jails, in emergency rooms, we've got to get those individuals out, and we have to fund them purely with state funds.
Right, and we're gonna pay for it anyway. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, I think anybody else had anything for Carol? Well,
No, and I
thank,
apologize for the
We-
connection being bad. Apologize.
We appreciate Carol.
yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, on Mary Long to talk about the year-to-date budget versus actual expenditures.
Okay, this one is pretty short. If you refer back over to tab 5 in your binders, you'll see a summary of the expenditures through March of 2025. Our budget's pretty much on target as we continue to be in good shape with the budget. At 75% of the year past, we have expended approximately 74% of the budget, so putting us 1% under budget at the moment. We've got a couple individual lines that are overspent, or not overspent, but spent a little bit higher, but we expected that, and those will even out by year end, hopefully. Revenue has brought in approximately 83% of our recurring revenue, which again puts us in a favorable position. So we're looking pretty good for the rest of the year if we keep tracking this way.
Good to
Are there
hear.
any questions?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Director's updates.
So good morning. I wanted to just follow up. Melissa Ritter came and gave a great summary of everything that we did in regards to Brain Injury Awareness Month. But we also did some other exciting things in March and in the month of April. We did, it's only April 9th, but we already did some very exciting things that I wanted to highlight. So I'm going to start with March 1st and then end. So at our regional centers, PD Center, the Knights of Columbus Council donated over $5,000 to the PD Center to support consumer needs, outings, and programs. Consumers worked on their bowling and basketball skills, learned about 3D printing, improved their nature photography skills, enjoyed karaoke and bingo, and celebrated St. Patrick's Day with a green theme party. Over at our Saliba Center, we welcomed Timothy Cassidy, who is our new staff development coordinator. Timothy will be offering new staff and ongoing training sessions at Saliba Center starting April of this year. They also at Saliba Center installed new outdoor furniture around the facility to allow residents and staff to enjoy the fresh air and nature. Over at Coastal Center, the Knights of Columbus Council also donated $2,000 to the Parents and Guardians Association on behalf of the Coastal Center to support residential needs. Residents celebrated Mardi Gras with a spring party, a visit to the South Carolina Steakhouse to commemorate Disability Advocacy Day, and cheered on DSP Landon Kennedy as he earned his golden ticket to Hollywood on American Idol singing competition. I would like to highlight that I had the pleasure of being at Disability Advocacy Day and witnessing firsthand Commissioner Woodhead and McKenna's speech. They both did a wonderful job. I was especially moved by McKenna, and there were a lot of people in the audience that came up afterwards and said what a great job she did on highlighting adaptive sports, something that a lot of people were not even familiar with. So kudos to both of you guys. Over at Millen Center, Eagle Scout Noah Devine installed 15 Bluebird boxes along a 1-mile walking loop on the Millen Center's campus. This project will bring a little bit of nature for the residents and staff as they enjoy the outdoors. There are already Carolina chickadees and bluebirds occupying Noah's new nesting box. Finally, at our Witten Center, Eagle Scout Noah Devine also installed another 17 bluebird boxes that added to the newly installed sensory garden and created a 1-mile walking loop for staff and residents for their new Walkout Wednesday program. I would like to highlight, I'd be remiss in not highlighting, on April 2nd, we in Central Office held our second annual 2025 Autism Connect Conference, coordinated by DDSN and the University of South Carolina Center for Autism and Neurodevelopment. It was held at Brooklyn Baptist here in West Columbia. The event drew a attendance of 709 participants, a significant increase from the 550 attendees in 2024. Highlights from that event include 75 organizations participated as exhibitors, providing resources, tools, and supports for families and professionals. 20 unique presentations were offered on key topics during the event. And for any individual that was unable to attend the event and would like to revisit it, you can go to our website and see the information over there. I want to personally thank all the staff that worked hard on that event. Stephanie Turner is our autism director and worked hand in hand with USC to put this event on. And when I say this event was huge, I pulled up to the parking lot. I was open. I did the welcoming, I believe, and I had literally nowhere to park. There were so many vendors and so many participants there. It was one of the highlights, one of the things I look forward to most in the year. In my opinion, it's only going to get bigger and better each year. So I want to thank Stephanie for all her hard work. I want to thank Kimberly Cochran, who's in our executive suite. She helped with administrative things and helped the day of. Sarah Buff also did a lot of work towards this event. PJ and Sam from our communications team, they were on the ground and got a lot of good press and communications in regards to the event. So I want to thank them I know that was a lot of hard work just seeing the outcome. Me and Carolyn personally walked around to each vendor that was there and talked to each one of them individually. We ordered some things. We ate we ordered cookies and ate some goodies. We ordered some t-shirts. So just all around was a well-attended event. Courtney, I don't know if you mentioned that we will be having a groundbreaking at Coastal, date to be determined sometime in the spring. Because Senator Bennett was so instrumental in getting this proviso passed and helping us get those regional renovations started, we were requesting that he come to that event. Of course, we'll update all the commissioners so you can attend that event. We are moving. The last thing I want to mention is that we are slated to move. If you guys happen to be bored and you want to go through the building, you'll see all these big yellow crates that we have around. We will be moving on April 21st. So we're asking everyone to bear with us and give us a little grace during that time period. We don't know what to expect because we've never had a move of this magnitude. We are hoping that we will have everyone located from central office over at Oteri Parkway by April, I'm looking at Courtney. 25th. But that's contingent on no issues, which DPH is already there. So we've been in constant communication with them for what to expect, what not to expect. DMH and Deotis will move shortly behind us. So as of April 21st, we will be in a new home. We will still have some staff here located until we can successfully move everything over to the new building.
You want to give the address of the new building?
Oh.
It's 400 Otari Parkway in KC, and it's 29033.
Pack your lunch if you have to come out there because it's a ride.
All right.
Director Holloway,
Yes, sir.
when does the session end?
Session ends, Carol, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the first week in May. I'm looking at the date. I don't want to give you the wrong date. I can see this calendar. That would be May, is that the first week of May? Is that May 9th, Carol? That session would end?
I think she dropped off, if I'm not mistaken.
It actually it runs into the second week of May. So that would be May 9th.
Okay, I asked that question for a particular reason. It appears as though we probably will have one more meeting before we are really dissolved.
Yes.
I hope we will.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Is that we will be able to do something similar to what DHEC did when they broke apart, and they had the two separate agencies, and they had like what was referred to as a last meeting that was like purely ceremonial, more of a, I guess, goodbye meeting or something, okay, for lack of a better term.
Let's do that and make it official.
Okay.
Well, then I guess that would be like for me to say, our next regular scheduled meeting is scheduled for May 15th.
Yes.
So that should likely stand as our last official meeting. So.
And that meeting will be located
At the new building, okay?
Right.
I guess, and with that,
May I please?
yeah, go ahead.
Does anybody have an objection to Wednesday meetings instead of Thursday meetings?
I'm fine.
Well, since we only have one meeting left, I would say that's fine.
I make a motion then to move our meeting to the 14th, which is a Wednesday at the same time.
Well, we can do that. Yeah, man, before we vote on that, I just want to say that it could be moved because based on when the House approves because we want to have our meeting before the governor signs the bill, whenever that is.
Yeah, we're scheduling a routine meeting right now, and so we can't deal with what we don't know.
Right.
Right.
No, but just bear in mind that could be moved up because based on the S2 bill.
But as of now, let's go on and you can have the 14th.
I made a motion for Wednesday the 14th.
I second that motion.
All approved?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's approved for May 14th.
Thank you.
Yeah, the one thing we don't want to happen is for people to say, who were those man commissioners? And nobody fell off the bridge.
I can clarify what exactly that means, but you may want to do it outside of public, I don't know, but I just want to know what that means. But anyway.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
You know,
So move.
I'd like to add one thing here. I would like to go on record as saying what I told the authorities about that name change. Here's what I said. Since about 40% of the people we serve have disabilities not related to cognitive function, spinal cord injuries, cystic fibrosis, loss of motor skills from TBI, etc., we can be inviting the judicial system to define our mission. I still believe that.
I agree.
So I think we ought to be really careful about the name of that bill. Thank you.
And you're asking that to be put in the minutes, right?
Yes.
Hey, Doc, why DR is in front of your name.
What's that?
That's why doctor.
He said DR right your name.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate the commission.
All right, we got a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in
And
favor?
tell Barry I appreciate him too.
Thank you very much, very kind of you to say that, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Slam.